Hello friends, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365, and today I'm going to give you my top 10 4K Blu-ray discs of 2023 so far. I can't believe we are midway through 2023. It just feels like it turned New Year's yesterday, and there was a lot of good stuff released on the 4K format, both new theatrical releases as well as catalog titles. I feel that physical media is having a really good year, and I'm very much looking forward to what we can see in the back half of the year. I can't wait. I think there's a lot of potential there. There's some releases in the early fall that look very promising. So I thought I would go over my top 10 that was released so far on 4K in 2023. Now, of course, this is going to be not really have anything to do with the quality of the movie itself. Of course, all film is subjective, but the disc quality, both in picture and audio. But of course, I would want you to put in the comment section below what your personal top 10 released on 4K for this year are. And if you are interested in any of the titles I mentioned in this video, I will leave direct Amazon links in the comment section below. It really helps out the channel when you do. All right, so let's not waste any time. Let's dive into my number 10 pick. This first title I would have placed probably a lot higher on this list, except for one baffling decision, and I'm talking about Devotion. This movie is really good. I think it's one of the more underrated films of this past year, and when they put this out on 4K, okay, you've got great HDR, you've got Dolby Vision, the movie looks really good, you've got the whole Korean War setting, but for some reason, they decided to omit the Dolby Atmos audio track. It's right on the digital version, no problem, but on the 4K physical disc, it's a DTS 5.1. I don't understand the thought process behind that. You know, you could make an argument, oh, they're trying to push people over to the digital or streaming. No, I don't buy it. I think there's something else going on there, but I will say the DTS is really solid. It has some great moments. It's punchy. It is very aggressive, and there's a lot going on during those battle scenes, and it does make good use of the surround environment. But once again, the lack of Dolby Atmos, unfortunately, I had to put this a little bit back on the list, but I still think it's worth picking up. At number 9, I'm going to give that one to Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. I love a good adventure fantasy film, and I was really happy with the movie itself. But really, the 4K disc is absolutely worth picking up. It has some good Atmos sound effects. It's very multi-directional. It has a lot going on, especially during those action-heavy moments. And visually, the movie looks good. I think Paramount really does a good job with their new theatrical releases, more so than their catalog titles. But I do feel that this one is a well-rounded picture and audio experience. It has some good moments, and it's very enjoyable. It's just kind of a fun time. So I think everything works here. It's worth checking out, so that is why it is my number 9 pick. You've probably heard of my number 8 pick. It was getting kind of, I would say, ripped apart as far as reviews go, but I feel that the movie is pretty solid, and it makes for a really good 4K experience. And I'm talking about Damien Chazelle's Babylon. This is a beautiful looking transfer. It takes that old Hollywood aesthetic and makes it very rich and lively. It's beautiful to look at. But for me, the Dolby Atmos is the real winner here, because if you read the description, you wouldn't think it would make for a good Atmos track, but yeah, it's crazy because there's some good parties, especially at the opening parts of the film. And then when the whole silent film industry is making those silent films, you get that audio experience, and they dialed it up to an 11. It's really good. So yeah, for a good 4K experience, I highly recommend you check out Damien Chazelle's Babylon on 4K. I think you will enjoy it. Not only is my number 7 part of the top 10 of the best 4K discs of 2023 so far, but I would also label it one of the best catalog releases so far, and it will definitely make the end of the year list in that regard. And this one, Dragon Slayer, oh, I was so impressed with this 4K disc. It is visually beautiful. It looks great. It takes that old style film and just looks really good. I mean, the Dolby Vision breathes a whole lot of new life into it, and I think it just looks epic. And the Dolby Atmos on this one, it is certainly no slouch. This fantasy adventure epic is great. It has, I mean, yeah, of course it's got some, you know, that 80s sound going for it, but it really does a good job with the Dolby Atmos. I am very impressed. I mean, I'm going to give Paramount credit on this one. They did a good job. and Dragon Slayer on 4K is certainly belonging on any top 10 list. My number 6 pick is a 4K release from Sony, and if you know Sony, they do a really good job. I feel arguably one of the best major studio labels putting out 4K discs. So for this offering, I'm going to recommend 65. Yeah, the movie, of course, is very divisive. As I mentioned, it's subjective, but what is really something is the 4K disc, because visually, it looks really good. It's sort of a darker movie. Of course, you have the whole dinosaur aesthetic, but a lot of it takes place at night, and there's a lot going on there. But I do feel that the Dolby Atmos is great. It's awesome. It's nothing less than you'd expect from a dinosaur film. It has some great audio moments. I think there's a good use of the Atmos. And I feel that if you like the movie and you saw it theatrically, you have to get it on 4K because it's the best experience, and it is worthy being on a top 10 picture and audio quality list. Whether you like the film itself, of course, that's really up to you. My number 5 is the newest movie on this list. I literally just watched this yesterday, and I feel that it absolutely has to be here. And I'm talking about Warner Brothers' release of Evil Dead Rise. Wow. I mean, when you talk about a killer Dolby Atmos track, this one has to be near the top of the list of the year, hands down, because it takes that creepy atmosphere and there's full use of discrete channel activity all around you. I mean, there is some good audio cues in this one, and it's really something you have to turn off the lights, crank up the volume, and watch, because you will just really dig what you hear. Visually, the movie is dark. It has some, dark, creepy, atmospheric look to it. But I think Warner Brothers did a good job. The general encoding looks good. The HDR is really nice. So yes, Evil Dead Rise on 4K. I highly recommend it. More towards the audio, but still a really well-rounded 4K disc. For my number 4, it is a movie that we as 4K collectors have been waiting for a long time. It is finally here, and I think it makes for a really good presentation. I'm talking about James Cameron's original Avatar. Visually, this movie is stunning. I think there's a really good looking picture here. HDR is very just dynamic. It gives you a good sense of visual pop. And of course, the Dolby Atmos, I feel, is really top tier. It's a good audio experience. The movie, I don't really need to sell you on the movie. I mean, if you've seen it and you enjoyed it, you've been waiting for the 4K, it is absolutely worth picking up. I did a full review if you want to hear my thoughts on it. But yes, Avatar on 4K is my number 4 pick. For my number 3 best 4K release of 2023 so far, it's one I honestly didn't think we were going to get a physical release of because it was a Netflix film, talking about All Quiet on the Western Front. Getting over that initial shock, the 4K disc is pretty awesome. Good war movies, of course, you have to really embrace both the visual and audio aspects, and I think it does a great job on both fronts. This is a fantastic physical 4K release. It really, honestly, audio-wise, it puts the stream to shame. You can't compare the two. I mean, the oomph of the Dolby Atmos is just top-notch. This is one of the best sounding discs of the year, and visually, it's beautiful to look at. Yes, it's, it's a gritty war film, but I think there's a lot to enjoy, both visually and audio-wise, and you need to check this one out, because once you do, you'll never have to stream that one ever again. The 4K disc is absolutely worth picking up. I'll be honest, my number 2 and my number 1 are so close together, it's a matter of an inch. I think at the end of the day, it really just came to personal preference. So I'll say you could interchange both my number 1 pick and my number 2, but for my number 2 pick, I went with Avatar: The Way of Water. Look, as far as new releases go, you're held to a certain level, but of course with a James Cameron film, you have to up the ante, and I think the 4K disc, it delivers on all sides. This is a great presentation. The Atmos, it's awesome. It's really good. I mean, there's a lot going on during those action scenes. I mean, you've got flying banshees, the underwater creatures, awesome stuff. And of course, visually, beautiful. This is a gorgeous looking picture from start to finish, and I highly recommend it. Just beautiful, both in visual and audio. So yes, Avatar: The Way of Water is my number 2. Before I get to my number 1, just a couple of quick honorable mentions. 12 Angry Men from Kino Lorber. This is a gorgeous looking transfer. I mean, it's a black and white film. And it just looks like you literally could have shot this yesterday and just with the black and white. I mean, really gorgeous look. I mean, Kino has been doing some great work on their 4K releases. There's been some awesome stuff, and there's some great stuff coming in the future. I would highly recommend you check out 12 Angry Men, and quite frankly, I would recommend any Kino Lorber titles. And this other pick is from Lionsgate, and that is Plane. It's a generic action film, but Lionsgate releases are really some good stuff. I mean, there's a lot to enjoy. Visually, it looks good. It looks really good. And of course, you have a nice, decent Dolby Atmos track, and it's just an enjoyable time. And lastly, from Vinegar Syndrome, I'm talking about From Beyond. I mean, Vinegar Syndrome is really just doing the Lord's work when it comes to 4K releases. They're arguably one of the best boutique labels out there. And their 4K edition of this one, it's great. I mean, this is a, based off of the work of H.P. Lovecraft. It's got all that creepy visual, stuff to it. But wow, does this look fantastic. I mean, this is a good looking transfer. I would recommend any Vinegar Syndrome title if you're at all curious, but From Beyond in particular, it's absolutely worth checking out. And for my number one best 4K Blu-ray disc of 2023 so far, that will go to John Wick Chapter 4. Wow, I mean, what can I say about this one? Because this is why we get into 4K, because of presentations like this are really the best representation of the format. This is a visually stunning looking transfer. I mean, from start to finish, those visuals are going to just wash all over you. They look good. I mean, really a lot of it's owed to the set design and the cinematography, but also the quality of the camera. I mean, everything works here, and that HDR Dolby Vision grading it's beautiful, but wow, I mean, I can't even speak highly enough of the Dolby Atmos, because this is a boom-worthy experience. I mean, gunfights, explosions, fights, hand-to-hands. I mean, everything here audibly is just great. This is, in my opinion, the best 4K disc of 2023 so far. John Wick Chapter 4. Don't sleep on this one. Pick it up right now. So those were my top 10 4K Blu-ray discs of 2023 so far. As I mentioned, if you're interested in any of the titles I listed in this video, I will leave direct Amazon links in the comments section below. But now it's your turn. What is your top 10 list of 4K this year so far? Talk about it in the comments. In the meantime, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. So until next time, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. I will see you at the movies.